life before was an absolute mess. You know, before finding faith, I grew up in an environment that was very drug and crime related. So everything that I saw and the people that I dealt with, my mom, my family, were all heavily involved in that life. And it sort of was the only life that I knew. Even though that's not what I wanted, I knew that's never the road that I wanted to take, but it was the only one I knew. The worst moment of my life, I could say, was when my mom started losing her clients, her contacts, and so consequently she started losing a lot of money. And it became so bad to the point where we couldn't even afford to buy milk. We were going to my grandma's house for food. It was disastrous, and I was not used to that. You know, I grew up being the girl that would always be after school buying everyone sweets because I had loads of money. You know, money wasn't a problem for me then. But then at this point, everything became scarce. No money for anything. So that was the lowest point. After finding faith, me, my mom and my sister, we really learned how to use it to advantage. So we used it to find like where my mom was really heavily reliant on the income of her criminal life and stuff like that. She learned how to use faith to get a job, to start school, which she stopped so many years ago. And things started moving forward. She got a job, she got a really good job, she used her faith in that. And same with us, we use our faith in our careers in school. And then now it's a lot different. My life today is brilliant. You know, I have hope, I have prospects, I have a future, I'm getting married soon, I have a good job. I no longer rely on sort of the criminal activities of my family to support me. I'm supporting myself. And it's such a contrast and different to the life that I had before, where it was really criminal based, so much wrong and negativity, as opposed to today, really positive, moving forward and really looking forward to the future.
Good evening and welcome to tonight's Finding Answers. Tonight's topic is something close to me. I like talking about family. And we all have a family. Your family can consist of, you know, your husband or wife, your children, parents. You could be a single parent. You could have extended family, even grandparents or cousins around you. And it's nice to have the people that you are closest to, that you love the most around you. Now, when things go well, then it's like no matter what problems you go through, those problems seem so small because you have a support network. You have people close to you who love you, who will support you, who will encourage you. Well, what happens when you don't have that close-knit family? What happens when your family are fighting constantly all around you, when you're not even getting along with the ones who are close to you, the ones who you are supposed to care about and love? What happens when you don't get that love back in return? It can be like, you know, the lowest point in your life. The one that you live with is the one that seems to be your worst enemy. And that's what tonight's topic is all about. Fighting families. When your family fight, they disagree, you don't get along with them. You know, if you want help tonight, I want to encourage you to give us a call. If there is a situation in your family, maybe it's so bad, your family member's actually in the house right now with you. It's so bad that maybe you need to go to another room to give one of our advisors a call. You need help. You know, when we don't have a choice of, you know, the type of family that we're born into. But through faith, you can change your family through prayer, through doing things that maybe you wouldn't dream of doing. Through faith, you can have an influence over your loved ones. And on tonight's program, my guest will be speaking about the rift she had, the problems she experienced with family members, people that she loved, people who were close to her, right? They were supposed to get along together, but it seems like they were her worst enemies. If you'd like to give us a call, then you can. Our number is on the screen. You can speak to one of our advisors. They're here waiting to take your call. It doesn't matter the family issue. It doesn't matter what is going on. Maybe you feel embarrassed to talk about that subject, but it doesn't matter. We are here to help you. And, you know, this family issue that you may be facing, or you know someone going through a problem, it is solvable. You know, in my line of work, we receive many, many people going through family issues. It could be in their relationship, it could be partners, you know, spouses, it's parents talking about their children, it's an unfaithful partner, it's disagreements over money. Whatever the situation, there always is an answer. And what you need to do, you just need to tap into the right channel. You need to, you know, get the help that maybe you have not received elsewhere. You know, there are lots of people that will give you good advice, but maybe what's missing is a spiritual aspect. The answer can lie through prayer. So if you want to give us a call, then you can do so. You can speak to someone. If you want to include your name in our Finding Answers prayer book, you can call up and include your name in the prayer book, and we will be praying for you regarding this family situation. So it's never, ever too late. Just remember how your family were. Maybe things have turned really bad. Things have turned upside down in your family. But remember how they were before. Remember how things used to be, maybe before that, you know, that death in the family, and now everyone's, you know, fighting with one another. Maybe it was a traumatic incident that took place in your family. Maybe there's one relative who's gone downhill. You know, maybe they're now a drug addict. Maybe they a problem that they're going through, an illness, and it's affected the others. Just remember, picture how your family used to be, because through faith, your family can not only return to that, but they can even be better than how it was before. And that's the faith that we have here on Finding Answers. So if you'd like to give us a call, the number's on the screen. It's 0207 686 6300. If you'd like to email your questions or your concerns, then you can do so as well. It's help@findinganswers.tv. And if you want to send a tweet, if you want to go on Facebook, or if you want to see other past programs of Finding Answers, then you just search Finding Answers on our various social media. Okay? So, fighting families. Are you at war in your home? Are you fighting with the ones who you care about the most? You know, maybe your arguments, maybe, you know, the disagreements that you don't have them so intensely with other people, work colleagues, even strangers on the street. You know, people, friends that used to be friends, you fell out with those people. It's easy to just forget about them, turn your back and just get on with your life. But what about those in your house? Sometimes the ones you fall out with in your home, you know, it seems though you hate that person. Certain things that you say, you want to cause harm to them. It's like you wish they were dead, or that person wished you were dead. That's how bad things have come to be in your family. We want to help you on tonight's program. So we're going to go for a break. And when we come back, you're going to hear just one story of my guest who suffered a lot in her own family. Okay? If this topic relates to you, or you would like to learn, you want to hear her story on what happened, but also how through faith she was able to find answers, then stay tuned. Okay? We'll be back right after this break.
and my show is all about improving your mental health and being happy. Join me every Monday, Wednesday and Friday at 10 p.m. on my channel Sky 203. Visit chrissybshow.tv for more information and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Chrissy B Show. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Chrissy B Show and on our Facebook page, The Chrissy B Show.
Do the maths. Changing your life is not as simple as changing your hairstyle, your shirt, or rearranging the furniture in your living room. You're talking about years of deep-rooted habits, behaviours and problems that are not going to change overnight. Many may say, think positively, but the trouble with that is that you can't do or change anything with just thoughts. But add action into the equation and the outcome can be different. Let's do the maths. Positive thinking plus action equals a change. Whatever it is, if the change is significant, if it's worthwhile, then it will have to take time, effort, and homework from you.
Make it, do it, makes us harder, better, faster, stronger.
My Channel TV, featuring a kaleidoscopic daily dose of programming. Stay with us every day and explore politics, economics, science, technology, lifestyle, culture, sports, and much more. We're here to amuse you, to keep you updated, and to keep you company. We're My Channel, your channel on Sky 203.
Welcome back to Finding Answers. Tonight's topic is fighting families. And we've all had, I'm sure we've all had a case, whether it's to do with yourself or even a family member who has been quite difficult. If you have found an answer on how you dealt with that difficult family issue, we would like to hear from you, right? Whether through faith or through some other means. We'd like to hear from you, so you can contact us and share your experience, all right? But for now, I want you to meet my guest for this evening. Her name is Titilola Agboluaje.
It's pushing me for the rest of the week, so it's like a boost.
Things were really tight.
Today, the way I see myself is completely different.
So before I introduce you to my guest, we have the Finding Answers book here. Inside there are people's names and prayer requests. And if you'd like to add your details here, as I said before the break, you can give us a call and we'll add your details and we'll be praying for you. All right? So, Titilola, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Pastor.
How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
Now, you've got a story to tell related to your family, right? And all this happened, or the beginning of things happened in your home country of Nigeria,
Yes.
right? But also when you came here, it didn't change, it kind of got worse.
No, it didn't change.
So please tell us, how did things start? What happened in your family back home in your country?
Well, all I was aware of is that when I was just growing up, I would say age 6, I just discovered that I was like an odd man out in the family. It was as if no one wanted me. My father, my mom, my 2 brothers. I just felt like an alien in the house. And
why do you think that was?
I didn't really know why. But all I just knew was everybody were on their own. Like my 2 brothers would be on their own, my dad and my mom on their own rather.
So everyone would be separated from one another?
Just together, well separated but together with each other. And I was on my own.
Right.
But
and were you the youngest?
I was the youngest, and I'm the youngest, and I'm the only female.
Right.
And what I just knew is that when I was in nursery school, I would just come home, oh, my dad, everybody was laughing at me because I got 0, and everybody would just make jest of me. It was like, why are these people laughing at me? Then later on in my primary school, I remember coming home with an arithmetic assignment, and I asked my father to help me. The way he responded, I just thought, I'm not going to come back to meet him anymore.
What was his response?
The way he responded was out of anger, and it's like, you don't know this? So I was just thinking.
And you were?
I was just
how old were you at the time?
6 or 7.
Right.
So
instead of being supportive and wanting to help you and teach you, it's like, leave me alone. It's like you're a burden, in other words.
Yeah.
When he reacted in that way, how did you feel?
I felt very scared, and it was as if I made up my mind that I wasn't going to go and meet him for anything anymore. Mm. And after that, all I kept hearing from everyone in the house was they called me names.
Your own family will call you names?
Yes.
Like what? What kind of names?
Thick head, or someone like, my father was just say that I should go and pray for wisdom, knowledge and understanding. And different kinds of abusive names. So,
which made things worse for you?
Yes.
Was that everyone? Was that including your mother and your brothers as well?
My mom had her own way of relating with me, which wasn't any friendly either.
How would your mum behave towards you?
There were times that was like, I think I went into the kitchen and I don't remember what I was doing, probably boiling water. I wasn't boiling water, but I think I dropped something and it was close to a kind of rat poison. And what she was saying to me was like, something like, you better eat it and die, something like that. So I just felt that, every time I looked at the family album, I thought, I don't belong here. I don't resemble anyone here. Mm. And I just thought that, let me just kill myself. So from around that age, I had a knife in my room, wishing that one day I was going to kill myself.
6 years old?
Yes. Around between 6 and 7 or 8, I thought I was just going to kill myself. So any story I read in school, my primary school, about death, stuck to my mind. Mm-hmm. So it was like, okay, one day I'm going to do something like that, or something like that was going to happen to me. Right. So, and my brother, I would greet him in the morning. I'll greet both of them in the morning, and what I'll hear is, what's your problem? What do you want? And I'll be wondering, what have I done to you? And anytime I go into their room, or they would use a picture of, because then I was scared of King Kong, they would put that picture in my face, and I'll run out of their bedroom. I don't want to talk to them. I don't want to see them because I didn't like that picture. Mm. And later on, I remember my brother's birthday. I was saying, oh, maybe that was an opportunity for me to say happy birthday. I just wanted to say happy birthday to him. And he didn't answer me. So I said it again and said, I'll kill you. And I was wondering, what? I mean, I didn't understand. Why was he saying this to me?
I'll kill you.
Yes.
And kids can joke. But you sensed it wasn't fun, it wasn't a joke, it was like serious.
Yeah. Right?
Where did that lead to next? Because horrible what you're describing here, especially the youngest. You're meant to, you're female, the only female child. You're the youngest. You would think that you would get all the kind of the love and attention, right? They're boys, they can fend for themselves and things like that, but you didn't get that. So how did it affect you as you grew up?
Well, with time, I began to try to find solace in school. When I was at school, instead of me having friends, rather I would join this group of people. Then after a while, if I don't feel comfortable, I'll join another set of people. If I don't feel comfortable, I join another group. So it was like I just couldn't stay in one place.
Why would you feel uncomfortable in, with those different groups of people?
Because I felt a sense of rejection. I felt very insecure. And I didn't know who to trust, more or less.
Do you think, looking back, it was, okay, I got rejected by my family, in a sense, and there was already like a kind of mark on you, right? You felt rejected, you felt low, so you didn't have that kind of confidence. So if they made a joke, and kids do make jokes sometimes, but you took it to heart, you took it too seriously, and you thought, let me go and find another group of friends to hang about with. Was it like that, or was it something particular that they said to you?
Not just that, it was the whole family, because I just wanted that love. I wanted the affirmation, but I saw them as not, to me they were serious. Because I did report it to my father then, and he spoke to him and he explained the reason why he said so. So
with your friends as well, was it the same?
It was the same with my teachers. My teachers called me names. It was a position they were supposed to give to me. They didn't give it to me, and I overheard them say so and said the reason was because she's just too sluggish. So I was like, I carried it along with me everywhere I was. And I think that was part of the reason why I couldn't relate with people. I would think that they didn't like me.
Yes.
But I think it was the way I came across rather.
Did you start believing these words that not only your family but the teachers and the different friends said about you? Did you start believing, as you said, you were sluggish, or what other words did they use?
Because they did speak in my language then, so it was like she's too slow. I can't remember the other
Did you have any
statements.
learning difficulties at all?
I didn't, but from the whole issue, I ended up having lots of difficulties.
So you didn't have learning difficulties, but you ended up.
Yes.
What kind of learning difficulties did you get?
At first, at home, when I was told some things I didn't really like, I always responded back. So my father told me never to respond back when I'm being told anything, or by my mom or anything like that. So I discovered that with time, I began to lose my memory. I couldn't remember simple things. I'll be talking to someone, then I won't remember what I said last. Then if I put something here and I want to take it along with me, maybe when I'm going out, I would have gone very far before I remembered that I didn't have it there. And sometimes, there were times I would stutter or stammer.
Right, and you never had that.
I never had
before.
That. No.
So you developed that over a short period of time.
I think it was a long period of time because it took a long time before I realized that actually I don't stammer. So why am I stammering?
Right.
So it took me many years before I could realize.
Obviously, with stammering, it's going to take you a lot longer to say what you want to say.
Yeah.
So in a sense, it is like a fulfilling prophecy, right? What your father said, you're sluggish. Actually, you started to talk very slow now, getting your words out. And when you started to stammer, when you started to feel or see things going this way, you said you were suicidal. You wanted to kill yourself. Did those feelings, were they still there? Did they get worse? Did you actually attempt to take your life? Well,
when later on, it became like a voice in my head to jump down from an 11-story building. Is it a thought or was it actually a voice? A voice.
Like I'm talking to you?
Yes.
To say, and it said what?
To jump down from an 11-story building.
Right.
Or when I had lots of bloating and flatulence, at times I will hear, take a knife and open your navel, then you will feel better. So if I held a knife in my hands, the thought of I was going to kill myself was strong on me.
Right. So
just merely taking a knife to use in the kitchen.
Right. Now, did you speak to anyone about what you're going through? Or did you kind of keep it a secret? It's me. If I mention anything I'm going through, people are going to think I'm crazy. Did you mention it to anyone, or did you keep it all to yourself?
I tried to explain a little bit to some people in the place where I was worshiping before, but the reactions I kept getting was exactly the same reactions I would always get. It was like, oh, why do you always complain? Everybody has problems, blah, blah, blah. You keep your problems to yourself, because every other person, they've got their own problems. So I never delved into the whole story.
Now, from there, did this, already your mental state was kind of going down. Did that develop any further? I mean, did you face or go through any kind of mental illness or anything like that, or depression?
I did go into depression, and there were times that I'll just be thinking, then I would lose my brain. It's like as if I'll just freeze, as if to say I'm almost running mad. But I had a lot of depression from childhood.
You did?
Yes.
And were you taking any medication or anything?
No, because
like that?
I never spoke to anybody about it. I kept my secrets to myself.
Right. Okay. So you've heard a small section, a small part of her story, of her life, right? And actually, when you know, how old were you at this last stage, this last point that you mentioned? How old were you then, by this time?
You mean when?
How old were you by this time?
I mean, how old am I now?
No. As you mentioned the story that, you know, you whatever things that you went through. How old were you at this point?
Well, everything still continued until I was in my 30s.
In your 30s?
Yes.
Right. So this was going from school, primary school, secondary school,
Meaning?
even into work.
Into work.
Now, did you actually face the same things in the work environment with people?
It was worse.
It was worse?
Yes.
Okay. So before we get into that, so you see how our words, especially from our loved ones, as a parent, your words can cause damage to your child without you realizing it. And I know, you know, it's a lot now. You know, we've been educated now how to speak to children. You know, they are maturing all the time. The things that I get surprised when I hear children speaking and saying certain things. You know, it's like they're young adults now, right? They're intelligent. But back, I don't know, 20, 30, even longer, years ago, children weren't so intelligent as they are today. We didn't have things such as the internet and games and those type of things. It was like a child had to know their place. And you know, if you are a parent and you have been, even though we live in this day and age, you still sometimes, when it gets tough for you, you like to speak to your child in a very rough way. You know, you can't take out your problems on your child, and not just your child, but on anyone. But you see how it has an effect on our family. The ones that are supposed to care and love us shouldn't treat us the way that you've heard Titilola say. But that's what maybe you are receiving from your family, or maybe you are actually responding to your family. So you see the consequence, and maybe you don't even realize the effects it's having on your family. Maybe you're not aware of it, and you just think that they are living their life. Stop and think twice about the words that you say and the actions that you take towards them. Okay? So, Titilola, you were saying this continued throughout your adulthood. How did it affect you? I mean, you said you were depressed. Did it get worse? Were the suicidal thoughts, you know, a lot stronger? Tell us, how did it affect you?
Yeah, whenever I would cross the road, the thoughts of a car to hit me was always there, or thoughts of someone was going to kill me. So it became so much unbearable that there was like a day in one of the places where I rented. I was there by myself, and the thoughts came so strong, and it was like a force took over my mind and was saying, you know, to take a knife and to kill myself.
Did you actually do something, or was it just a thought?
It wasn't a thought. It was like a force that came over me. So but
it's a lot stronger now than it was.
It was
before.
Stronger, yeah.
Okay, and in terms of work colleagues, friends, and things like that, what did they say? The same type of things as when you were a child?
For my colleagues, most of them, is like they kept on complaining over the way I treated them. What I noticed was that many of them would go into a place and start discussing about me.
Was that, did you act that way as a result of all the treatment that you received, or was it just you being normal and I don't know, they didn't like how you were?
Well, for me, I didn't know any better because I was treated like a victim. So even from those who were my superiors, sometimes like, you know, whenever I did anything and what I heard from them made me to want to make sure that, you know, I tighten every bolt, there's no problem, I don't end up getting suspended because I had gone through a suspension before. So I just wanted to make sure that, you know, I was taking things seriously. And for them, they saw me as being like a Hitler, making life unbearable for them.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, was that the case because of what you'd gone through? You were quite a difficult person?
Well, I didn't know any better, so
right.
I think that it was because of my upbringing.
But it wasn't your fault. It wasn't like you were born that way. This is my nature. This is who I am. It was circumstances that formed you and made you into that type of person at that time. Yeah. Right? So we're going to go for a break now. When we come back, you're going to learn how faith helped her, how she is today, how her life has totally changed. All right? If you are going through any problems similar to hers or anything else related to your family, then, as I said, you can give us a call, you can speak to one of our advisors. If you want the name in our prayer book, you can also do that as well. Okay? We'll be right back after this quick break.
So, maybe you're thinking about making some big changes or setting some ambitious goals for yourself. Maybe you want to lose 20 pounds or read through the Bible. Maybe you want to run a marathon or repair a broken relationship. Whatever your big goal is, the temptation is to expect to go straight from here to here, or from here to here. The reality is, there are a lot of small steps between big decisions and big results. Challenges and obstacles await. At some point, you might even want to quit. But stand firm. Don't be disappointed with slow progress. Don't be overwhelmed by the destination. Rather, focus on what you can do today. Skip dessert. Read a chapter. Go for a run. Make a phone call. The more difficult the journey, the more rewarding the destination. And it can all start today with just one small step.
The pursuit of happiness. What will make you happy? Success? Fame? New shoes? Financial security? Love? Education? Independence? Family? Sometimes in the pursuit of things we think will bring us happiness, sometimes we fail to see that we aren't happy or we never find it. We live in a world of people. Rather than pursue things to make you happy, what if we all worked to make each other happy? Wouldn't we all be happier?
Welcome back to Finding Answers. Now, before we hear how Titilola's life turned around, let's go to Christy on the streets of London to find out more about this topic.
it's Christy here, I'm Finding Answers, and tonight's topic is fighting families. Dealing with people can be quite difficult at times. However, when the issue revolves around family members, it can also become quite personal and emotional. But why is that? Well, let's see what the public have to say. What are common family issues?
I think duties, moral duties. I think some people assume roles in the family and others don't always agree, so that can create tension. Political views as well, even when they're going to vote in the election and who for, that can cause arguments. And also religion. You know, a religious divide in a family can be quite difficult as well, I think.
Money, like getting money with your parents, having to get a job, I think, battling with that. Yeah.
You feel like, you want to do your best to make them proud, but there's a lot of pressure on you. Yeah, money.
I think
what else?
In that awkward teenage stage, and you hate your parents, and then then they kind of get childish as well, and you just kind of live in this house of verbal abuse and slamming doors. I think just everything. Most people go through the same sort of thing.
I think expecting too much of the other person or expecting them to behave in the same way as you do. And that can cause conflict because then your expectations are maybe a bit warped and you can have these arguments and issues that basically arise because you expected someone to behave in a different way and they didn't, and they expected other things from you. And I think pretty much that, and if people could be more honest at the start and communicate more, it probably would help.
Family issues today, I think that it's revolves around the relationship between children and parents who are, for example, I'm an example of someone who left the family, and so it's hard to maintain a solid relationship when you live abroad and you're not close to your partner and live in different countries. So it can become an issue if you don't know how to handle it properly.
I think, well, for me, in my life, it's accepting your family for who they are, and even though they might not be the way you want them to be, just accepting them, yeah. And it's hard to do that sometimes.
So, welcome back. Now, let's go straight to Titilola's story of how her life turned around. So, tell us then, faith played an important part in your life turning around, right? Tell us, how did you believe in God? Because you did mention, I heard you say that, you were attending a place of worship before, right? But were you still going through these kind of problems?
Yes, I was.
Okay. So how did things actually change for you?
Well, I went to visit a friend around my birthday time. I just went to say hello to her, and she invited someone else over, and they both prayed for me. After a while, it was like I was becoming so dependent on them. Then later on, one of them now said, well, since she didn't have a building where she could bring me into and pray for me, why not try this place? So she invited me to come to this place of worship where I'm in now.
Okay.
And and since then I've been attending.
Right. So tell us what actually happened there when you went.
So I spoke to the pastor, and I began to attend some series of programs.
Yes.
So after a while, at first I didn't feel, it's like this place is different from where I've been. So that was my first reaction, and right. It took me a while to just readjust.
Different in a good way or different in a bad way?
It wasn't different in a bad way, but for me it was like I was used to because I'd been to different places,
okay,
and they were all similar. So, but when I came here, it was like, this is completely different. It wasn't what I was expecting first. So
did you speak to anyone about what
Yes, I did.
Was it easy to open up and talk to someone or not?
It wasn't that easy, because I just started with, I've been experiencing some spiritual problems, and when the pastor said I have to attend some meetings, it was
You mentioned spiritual problems.
Yes.
You know, this problem, we could say it's a physical problem. Many people watching could say, look, this is a physical problem, but did you try anything physical to get like a solution to your problems? Did you try anything physical before you actually turned to the spiritual side?
Because I had health issues, I did I did self-medicate myself. But for
did it help you?
Just for like when I took like some medications, stopped, it looked like things are getting better, then it would revert back. So
Right.
it wasn't for long, but I was dependent on them.
So then, you reached a point where, look, I've tried things, I'm not seeing any answer. There must be a spiritual root, right? So, how important was faith in all of this? How important did faith play in terms of your healing and getting better? You know, not having the suicidal thoughts, etc.
What happened? At first, it was like I didn't have that belief that I was going to break free. It's like my mentality was just so negative. I found it so hard to believe that I could be anything. But even though when the pastor kept on saying, you know, we believe in you, this and that, it didn't register. But with time, the first thing that came that I noticed that changed was my eating habits, because I had lots of disorders and sicknesses.
Right.
So that was the area that I first saw a change. And
was that you weren't eating properly?
Well, I had bulimia, and I also had lactose intolerance.
Right.
I had constipation. I had symptoms of ulcer. I also had lactose intolerance. I wasn't able to take nuts.
Right.
So it was just a lot of them. I just had them.
And you didn't have these things before, or did they develop over time?
I think it was over time. First of all, when I was growing up, it started with bulimia, because I was comparing myself with other people, and I wanted that affirmation. So, but when I wasn't getting it, I decided to start starving myself.
Right.
So, and that when I grew older, I didn't realize it was a problem for me.
So you started seeing a difference. That was the first sign.
Yeah.
So tell us, what was the difference that you saw?
So there was a purpose, and I took part in it. And when I just prayed that, God, I believe I'm healed, because like the man of God said that believe is prophet and you should be established. And I decided to do that. I believed. I said, just like the pastor had said, I believe. And I just said, okay, let me just try and see if I could drink milk.
Really?
Yes.
You took it upon yourself to try it?
Yes.
Knowing that maybe if you drank milk, you could, I don't know, go to the toilet or something like that, right?
Yeah.
But you decided to do it?
Yes, I decided
and
to.
what was the answer?
I noticed I was okay.
Really?
Yeah.
In that very moment?
I think it was the following day. It was the following day.
Okay.
So then I went to take peanuts, and I realized I had no reactions.
You had no reactions?
No reactions.
Okay.
So
what was your reaction before when you ate nuts?
I would have headache. My eyes would look like they're swollen. The sockets is like getting bigger in the socket, in my eye socket. I had isolated pimples that would become very big and very painful.
Right.
So, and the headache would be for some days.
Just by eating nuts?
Yes.
Okay. So you went and kind of tested your faith?
Yes.
And you ate how many nuts? Did you kind of get a mouthful and shove it down your throat? And
no, because I do like nuts, especially when it's from back home, and I could finish a bottle.
Yeah.
So I can't remember whether there was nuts in the house that day, but I just knew that I just went to just pick nuts.
And you ate them?
And I ate them.
Nothing happened?
Nothing happened.
So for you, that was a sign?
Yeah.
Right? My faith has healed me?
Yes.
Right? And in terms of the milk, there was no reactions at all.
No.
And for you, that was a sign?
Yes.
Right? Yeah. How long were you attending that place before this actually happened?
It was over a year. I think a year and some months.
Well, would you say in that year you were kind of discovering yourself, opening up, learning to trust, or that type of things, or?
Well, because I had talked so many things inside, I really didn't know who I was anymore.
Right.
So it was so difficult. It's like when I discovered something, I realized there's something else again, and there's something else again.
Right.
So it took me.
So it took a while to kind of know everything about yourself, and then kind of channel your faith into using your faith in order to receive some sort of answer or miracle, right? Mm-hmm. So for you, it was a year. About a year in that place. Yeah. What else did you start seeing? Because you said you had suicidal thoughts.
Yeah.
And were those thoughts coming throughout that year?
Well, it was still coming even up till after that period, because I still struggled with accepting myself. Mm. I had lots of low self-worth. So, and it was. It took me a long time to be able to believe that I could be anything. Mm-hmm. So it was easy for those thoughts to just permeate, especially when I tried to do something and I wasn't getting through. So all I could see was, as if there was no way out, mm-hmm. lots of hopelessness. So from the time when I had that healing, it took me, I think it took me over a year or two before mm-hmm. I could overcome that.
Right. So you started seeing changes after then. Yes. It was like, this thing works.
Yeah.
Right? My faith I have faith, it works now, I know the answer. So other things started to change for the good.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Regarding the thoughts, did you have any other thoughts, suicidal thoughts after that?
Like I said, later on, I still had lots of problems with accepting myself. Mm. And that didn't make it better, because I had to keep fighting to make sure that I could just stay within the place of worship. That was one. Then
so it was a battle, a fight,
yes,
to kind of keep on coming.
Yes.
Right. But you did.
Yes.
Right. And when did you start seeing everything go?
Well, I think that was about over 2 years after. That I kept on coming, and I made up my mind. I said I was going to listen to what was being said, and I couldn't continue this way. Yeah. And the first thing that I had to deal with was forgiveness. To forgive.
So it's going back to the root,
yes,
which was your family,
yes,
again, right?
So and also along the line, someone had abused me in my uni, so I just had to think of, because I was bullied as well, and I faced emotional trauma, and I just had to let it go.
Yeah.
Go back to the family as well, just let it go. So.
And were you able to get that opportunity to confront your family and say, please forgive me for the things that I held against you and that sort of thing?
Well, I said to them, forgive me I forgive you for what has happened, and. For one of them, I had already done that before I came to London. So, and he had apologized on behalf of the family then for the way they treated me.
Right.
So,
how did you feel when you kind of, asked for forgiveness, or you forgave them?
Yeah.
How did you feel?
I was able to lift my head up. That was the first thing I noticed, because prior to that, whenever I walk on the street, I look down. So, but I was able to lift my head up. And I had more confidence, and I was able to start looking, beyond myself. So I was getting much better.
In a nutshell, then, how is Titilola today?
Well, I'm much more confident, and I used to be afraid of confronting people before, but now I do, and taking steps to move forward with my life.
No more suicidal thoughts?
No more suicidal thoughts.
No more sluggishness?
No.
Right? No more stammering?
No.
Right? You no more bulimia? No nuts, milk allergies?
No.
Nothing?
No.
Everything is cleared up, if I can say.
Yes.
Brilliant. Your faith has healed you, right? Titilola, thank you for coming and sharing your story with us.
Thank you.
Now, her story is a true inspiration. Whether you believe it or not, it is possible. She's here with us tonight live, telling you that it is possible. If through faith she was able to achieve all these things, what about you? What's different with you? You might be doubting. You might be going through a difficult moment where you feel as though you're on your own. No one is there for you. But she went through the same thing. But what it took was someone who believed in her, someone who encouraged her, and even the prayer. And after the break, we're going to go for a quick break now, but afterwards I want to pray for you. Whether it's a nut allergy, whether you feel low, whether you feel down, all is possible through the power of faith. We'll be right back after this break.
Hi everyone, I'm James.
And I am Helena.
Join us here every Saturday at 3 p.m. for Love Talk,
the show that teaches you how to love intelligently.
On my channel Sky 203.
See you there.
Love Talk on my channel Sky 203 every Saturday 3 p.m.
Welcome back to Finding Answers. Now, before we go for the prayers we normally do, faith is that key that you need to kickstart a change in your life. Just think what Titilola said before the break. She prayed, and in that moment, she believed. The next day, she took some nuts that she liked, but she had an allergic reaction. And after eating those nuts, nothing took place. How can you explain that? That is the power of faith. And no matter your situation, whether it's family, you feel as though your family will never change, then just apply faith to your family. If it's a health issue, apply faith to the prayer now. No matter your problem, faith is that key. And I want to join my faith with yours to determine an answer tonight. It's time for prayer.
Prepare now for the moment of prayer. If you would like us to make a prayer for your health and general well-being, send your name and prayer request to help@findinganswers.tv.
My Lord and my God, in the name of your Son, our Lord Jesus Christ, I pray tonight for this viewer who has been finding it difficult to forgive family members, the ones who have said maybe the most evil things to them, that have hurt them, and now this family have been torn apart. Instead of being loving towards each other, they are enemies. My God, we've learned from tonight's story that faith is able to solve any kind of problem, from family issues to health issues, even, my Lord, problems where there are negative forces at work. Titilola heard voices telling her to take her own life. But Lord, she doesn't have those anymore because she learned to develop her faith. And we have people, Lord, watching me now, joining in this prayer, who have lost hope. My God, through this prayer, I pray that you visit them in their homes. Visit them, my Lord, wherever they are. Even if they're watching this now on YouTube, my God, they are joining us in this prayer. So Father, heal them now. Take away this hurt, this pain. Take away from this heart this grudge, this negative feeling, and unite this family together. Join this husband and wife together. Let these parents get along with their child and vice versa. Whatever the situation in this family, Lord, let your blessing, let your healing, let your peace, your unity enter this home. In the name of the Lord Jesus Christ, I bless you now, and I determine that as I speak, the Spirit, the presence of God touches you wherever you are. In the name of the Lord Jesus Christ, receive now the miracle, receive now through faith the answer that you want. In the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. Amen. All right. So I believe in this prayer that was made. And if you believe too, then you will see a miracle by faith. Okay? It's been a pleasure being with you tonight. Join us again tomorrow for another inspirational story here live on Finding Answers. Have a wonderful night. God bless you.